Thank you for joining us this evening for the Integrity Leadership class with Reverend Reginald Paul and myself, Deanna Mitchell. We are discussing Dr. Henry Cloud's integrity, the courage to meet the demands of reality, how 6 essential qualities determine your success in business. In the integrity leadership class, we are learning that your character, your integrity, life's ups and downs is what makes you who you are. So the first one that I'm gonna start with is it's in chapter 4 because we're doing 4, 5, and 6. It's building trust through connection, and I'm going to go to page 53, and it's the bottom line. It starts with it starts with the last word in the last chapter at the very bottom on line 3. It says willpower. And just trying to make good choices cannot compete with the true desire of the heart for what is where the passion is. Now there's something that Antonio tells me all the time. Your burning desire is what shows through, regardless of what it is that you're doing, regardless of what you truly want. Your burning desire, which is the desire of your heart, will always shine through any and everything. So, with that being said, I'm going to repeat the line one more time. We're going to open this up for open discussion. Willpower and just trying to make good choices cannot compete with the true desire of the heart, for that is where the passion is. So I'm going to open this up, and I would like to get your opinion and what you think about what this particular passage is saying. So the line is open. Reverend Reginald, if you have any words that you would like to share as well on this particular line, the floor is open. The floor is open.
I will let them answer it first.
All right. So who would like to unmute and give your idea, concept, emotion, feeling, thought process, whatever it is you choose to give? Who would like to unmute and let us know what you feel about that particular passage? All right. Well, Reverend Reginald, we don't have anyone unmuting at this time, so if you
Hey,
would like to.
Deanna,
Oh, go ahead, Grace.
could you read that sentence one more time,
Yes,
please?
yes, yes, I can. And it reads, willpower and just trying to make good choices cannot compete with the true desire of the heart, for that is where the passion is.
Okay, so that reminds me, a lot of books always come from sacred text. And so what you just read, it reminds me from the sacred text. Um, Out of the heart flows, out of the, yeah. I'm trying to make sure I remember it. The treasures out of the heart flows, what you really want. And so, yeah, what you were saying earlier, your brain desire to really push through that what you really want will. I've always heard when I was in network marketing, I had leaders to say your burning desire is so strong, you'll be willing to go through a brick wall to get it. So when I hear that, the willpower, like I mean, for example, Antonio, nothing is stopping that man from $100 billion. I don't care what it is. Okay, Corona ain't gonna stop him. Nothing, $100 billion is what he wants. That's his burning desire, so that he can do good with the world. And so, whatever, it doesn't matter who it is on the call. Everybody has a burning desire, even if you don't know what it is. But everybody has a burning desire, and when you do recognize, once you do recognize what that burning desire is, you will do what is necessary to get and have that willpower to get it. Thanks for allowing me to share.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Grace. Willpower and just trying to make good choices cannot compete with the true desire of the heart, for that is where the passion is. That's what we're opening up this evening. Grace, thank you so much for sharing. This makes me want to present something to you. So if what your burning desire, if your heart, if the true desire of your heart is where your passion is, and you're saying, man, this is not going my way, man, that is not going my way, could it be said that the true desire of your heart is things not going your way? Who would like to open that up? Go ahead, Miss Carol. And after Miss Carol, Corey.
So sometimes when we're thinking this is my desire and it's not working, you might actually be suppressing your real desire because you think that it's not going to be possible. So you take the next best thing. And then it doesn't work because it's telling you need to really go back to your roots and go from your heart. So sometimes we got to check that too. I know I do.
All right. Thank you, Miss Carol. Corey?
I think the thing that comes to mind for me is that you almost can't fake desire. I think there's a way where sometimes we feel like on the surface level that we are working the motions and actually doing the things that we think everyone else wants us to do. And the thing is that would never, like, say, for example, somebody says, hey, you have to be rich and you have to make money or you have to be an entrepreneur or whatever it is to actually be happy. And then all of a sudden you start going to that. When in reality, you may not want to be rich or be an entrepreneur for that reason. And sometimes your truth, at some point, your true desire would actually come up and say, you know what, this is not what you want. Like, once you actually get your riches, once you get the money that you need, everything else like that, you would end up still feeling empty. Because the thing is that your true desire wasn't necessary. You weren't doing it for the right reasons or for the true desire. So it's like once you achieve the surface level, what actually really starts showing up is like, your true desire. So it's like this. So it's really being able to. What I also hear is also digging deep, and not just working the motions and going the motions and thinking that everything is going to be okay. That's what I wanted to share on that.
All right, Corey. Thank you, Corey. Thank you very much. Grace, I see you're unmuted. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
You say I'm unmuted? I'm sorry. Don't mean to be.
Oh, all right. Thank each and every one of you. Thank you, Grace, for what you said earlier. Thank you, Miss Carol, for what you said, and thank you, Corey, for sharing as well. The burning desire, the desires of your heart, if you're not living it, it will show. If you're doing something that is not, if you're doing something and it's not working, you're like, no, this is what I want, this is what I want. Apparently that may not be, like Ms. Carol said, you may have to go back and reevaluate that, because you'll always, as Antonio has taught us, you'll always get your burning desire. You'll always get what's burning deep in your heart. So if you're saying, just like Corey was saying, when you're doing something because someone else said you should do this, but it's not your burning desire, it's not what you truly wanted, you won't find fulfillment. You won't find happiness. So you're going to have to go and reevaluate that. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up to Reverend Reginald to see what he has to say on the subject. Reverend Reginald?
You have to repeat the subject because I just got off. I couldn't listen to 2-3 words. If you want to ask me that question again, because I'll answer it, because I'm ready to talk about empathy, something that you're very good at.
Yes, yes, sir. Well, I was talking about on page 53, at the very bottom, it starts with line 3, the last paragraph. It says, willpower and just trying to make good choices cannot compete with the true desire of the heart, for that is where the passion is. And I was asking everyone to open that up and give us, give us their take or their opinion, emotions on what that meant to them.
Let me read it out loud to myself and put it into my computer.
Don't
worry about my sweat beads on my forehead. I see people looking at it. I know y'all paying attention to my sweat beads. Don't worry about it. Human and gals. Willpower and just trying to make good choices cannot compete with the true desire of the heart, for that is where the passion is. And your heart is where the passion is at. The heart is what drives you to do whatever it is that you decide to do. Or one could argue your brain, but what was done in your heart, it's like with me, I'ma just, like today, I had 2 phone calls, but the day started with the talking to God and then 2 phone calls, you know. Then I had a phone call asking me, what they knew why they called me, because they say they know, you know how to put words together and you know what to say, but I always say it's the same thing that you heard thousands of times. And I know it's my heart that makes it to where you can understand it because I genuinely care. So if I put that together into that sentence for what a passion is at, my passion is
No,
in.
no, 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 don't do that. Sorry.
Oh, hello? I'm in trouble?
No,
No, no,
sir.
no, you're fine. You're fine. That's
Oh,
my
I thought I was
mistake.
getting a
Sorry.
whooping. Oh, thought I was getting a whooping. I had a flashback. All right. No. Okay. On the subject that I was on the phone call, because I was talking to a young man, very bright young man, and he called me the day out the blue. And I told him, I say, I know why you called me, because whatever it was in your heart, whatever that passion was, me call Reggie, my big bro, and let me hear what he has to say. And I say, well, all I told you is what you asked for. And then I start talking to him, and then he started getting real comfortable. Like he got real comfortable because he knows, like, that is what I was asking for. Not the question he had at first, but what he literally wanted to know and what he needed to know because he was praying for it. And that conversation was a real heartful conversation, though, because you had 2 men sharpening iron. And, the good choice, I could have just, pumped him up, sent him on about his way. But when you sit there and you talk to somebody from your heart, they know when you talk to them from your heart, they're going to sit there and listen to every word you say. And by the time that conversation over with, it's just speechless. And you can hear the tear fall. And not one of them sad, them tears that one of them, man, I am somebody tears. Well, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm talking about. I am somebody tears. And that's what that conversation was about. And I hope you hear me, because that was a great conversation we had today. And that lifted me up just as well as you thought it lifted you up. That lifted me up as well. For you to give me a call, because I was not expecting a call from Pennsylvania. I don't think nobody ever called me from Pennsylvania ever in my life. So that was a pleasure. But yeah, to stay within the lines, the passion is it is in that heart. Here's the whole ticket. Anybody got something else they want to add before we jump to empathy? Deanna's favorite subject, Minister Mitchell's.
I almost called you this morning too.
You did?
Oh.
Oh man. If you would have called, I don't know, I probably would have turned into a puddle of Hershey chocolate. Yeah, because I had for real, no, seriously, y'all. Those 2 phone calls I had today, they were awesome though. Like a mother, I'm gonna share this with y'all because I just have to. The mother called me, and her son was shot. The son was shot in the calf, and the friend that was with the son, which is a female, got shot as well, and she might not be able to walk again. Now, the young lady that I talked to, on the strength of me and this young lady, when we met, she was with her son, and she had told me things that she would like to happen to her. She was staying with somebody at the time, and a living situation was not a good living situation. So the me and me was like, look, man, I know this place. You got to fill out this application. You got this, and this. They'll get you in real quick. And I used to always say, but you got to believe. If you believe in it, then it'll work. Not just off the word of mouth of what I'm saying, because I don't want you to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to think of anything that I'm just trying to sweet talk you clean up off your feet. I just know, I know the look in your eye. I know how you interact with your child. I know that you want something better than what you have. So, okay, they got the application. Then she say, well, I have X amount of kids. and I need a foundation for them. I need to get me a place because I haven't been on my feet and I'm trying to get on my feet. Well, after doing an application, she got their place within like a month, and she said, "Yeah, I got this place, got like a 4-bedroom. Now I can go get my kids. You know what I'm saying? I can go get my kids. They can stay with me." Well, one of them kids is the one that got shot, right? So as she was talking to me, because she asked me what to do, and I sat there and I said, "Well, what your soul told you to do?" You know what I'm saying? Because I like people to listen to themselves. I don't get no advice. I am the wrong person to give you some advice. Don't even ask me for no advice. I just want you to listen to yourself. Because when you listen to yourself, you'll get a better understanding. Because it's you, it's not me. I can tell you anything. Yeah, go across the street, go get them chips. And you know what I'm saying? I can tell you anything. But when you listen to yourself, then you'll find it, especially if you're really looking for it. And all I do is just point you into, you know what I'm saying? Get out the little, okay, you're in the shade. Come to the light. Oh, I'll stay right there in the light. Okay, now keep talking. Okay, so I say, well, first of all, I say, you're a very strong thinker. You're a very strong thinker. You're powerful minded. I say, now with that powerful mind, stop putting your mind in the direction of, okay, because she wants to bring the son home, but the son's in a lot of pain and he has to rehabilitate, right? And she was like, I don't want to put him in the car and in the car ride. And that's when I say, okay, that's when I told her about being a strong mind. I say, well, that's something that you cannot take care of. There's nothing you could do. I mean, there's nothing you could possibly do. Then I hit her with the look, okay, you know a storm coming. I mean, I say a storm always gonna come and you don't know what the storm gonna do to you. But one thing you can know is that a storm you gotta go through. So when you know that, you'll be prepared for it. And after I told her that, then that's when I said, now look, you trying to save the world and be a great mama, some stuff you just cannot do. So if you go over and ask God to heal your son and you believe it, he'll do it right now. So therefore you ain't gotta use your powerful mind to think that your son's in pain, because you already know your son is in pain. That's the storm that you already know that he's in pain. Okay, but what you can do is you believe that he will be healed. Therefore, you can take your mind off of what you put your mind on. Then on top of it, I say you had a place, and I say, how many bedrooms you got? I got 4 bedrooms. I said, okay. Wasn't you telling me that you wanted all your kids to come? I say, now, don't you think that it's time, no matter what the situation was, don't you think it's time to accept your son that he's coming home? No, you don't need to move to Dallas. Because they was like, I want to move to Dallas. And say, think about it. You got a place. And if you got a place that was built for your children to come, because you got a 4-bedroom, you only have one son, that means it's time for your son to come home. And the search says that he in, so that you can be able to take care of him like you want to take care of him. And then that's when she said, "Now, Reggie, thank you, because you made me feel a whole." I said, "I didn't make you feel nothing. All I did was remember what you said. So all the times you said I never listened to you, I want you to know I listened to every word, and there was a reason why I listened to every word, because I knew exactly. I just knew. I couldn't pinpoint what I just knew that. Okay, you got this apartment. You got it in 2 to 3 weeks. Nobody got an apartment that fast. And then after you got the apartment in 2 to 3 weeks, after you done went through that, then you said you wanted to get your kids, and then something just happened to happen with one of your children. And I say, well, if this never happened, how long was it gonna take for you to get your kids? You know what I'm saying? Like, how long would it take for you to go get your son? That's what she really said. Now, see, that's how you know how to put the, no, I don't know how to put none of these words together. I'm just saying, you put the plan in action with your words. You've been put that plan in action. So when you put that plan in action, you need to be active on that plan. Now that the plan is being active itself, you just step in, and she felt a whole lot. She said, now you can hear from the first minute that she called to the time that it was time to hang up that she was a totally different person. But those wasn't even my words. Those were hers. They wasn't even mine. But they say that passion, right? Like, because when it burned, like when I had that certain burn, I don't care who you is. I'm gonna tell you. I don't care if I never seen you before. I might look. I'll be having a conversation with myself. Don't do it, Reggie. Don't do it. Don't do it. too big. You can't approach people like that. Don't do it. Don't do it. They might be scared of, so, but I just be like, forget it. And I go ahead and, if you say use your humor, I use my humor. If you say just use your size, use your size. But whatever it be, it just be that. And I just wanted to share that. And if I'm not mistaken, it kind of went in with it a little bit. Didn't it, D? Just agree to disagree. It went in with what you said.
I agree with you.
Okay, all right.
Because this brings up something else. You have to be careful with what your burning desire is. Yeah, we have the willpower, but your burning desire will set off a chain of events for you to be able to live out your burning desire. You cannot question how your burning desire comes to place. You just have to be open enough, be aware enough, and conscious enough to understand that this is leading to your burning desire. That's what I got from your conversation. Her burning desire was to bring all of her children home. She prepared a place for her children, but she was not prepared for how the universe, God, was going to bring her children to her. Her burning desire created that situation to where she can bring her children home. It just so happens that it was an unfortunate event that allowed her to live out the desires of her heart. So we also have to be open enough, aware enough, and conscious enough to know when our burning desires are coming to, because things never come the way we expect them to, but we always get what we desire. Antonio used to always tell me, your intentions have nothing to do with your harvest. Your desire has everything to do with your harvest. You can intend to be the perfect person, but if your wake is trash, the desire of your heart created a trash wake. You can have all the intentions in the world to want to help someone, but if your burning desire is to help someone and expect something in return, guess what you're going to do? You're going to help someone. You're not going to get gratitude or notoriety in return. So what are you going to do? I wanted this, I wanted that. I'm never going to help this person ever again because I didn't get the gratitude that I wanted. But you say you're a good person. Your intentions were great, but what was the burning desire in your heart? What you expect and what you get are completely different. But you have to have the awareness, the character, the integrity, the consciousness, and the connection with source or God to understand that this is what you desired. I'm done. Anyone else? Would anyone else to remark on this before?
No.
Ma'am?
Nobody is going behind that. No.
Oh, my bad, fool. My bad. Well, all right then. Well, Reverend Reginald, the floor is now open for you to open up, because you said you wanted to talk about empathy. So let's open this up, because that's definitely a part of integrity, character, all that. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Turn to page 58. Everybody turn to page 58. We about ready to jump on this dance floor, since Minister Mitchell always say the floor is yours. So we all is to step on this dance floor. And I want us to have the same rhythm. I got two left feet, but I'm sure going to put them together. And I'm going to start off with this paragraph. Let me get an integrity when you turn to page 58, let me get an integrity. All right. Everybody got it? Everybody on page 58? If you ain't got the book, don't worry about it. I'm going to read it. All right. If we look at our leader who didn't make it, what was he lacking? In a word, empathy. Empathy is is the ability to enter into another person's experience and connect with it in such a way that you actually experience to some degree what the other person is experiencing. It is as if you are that other person, at least for a moment. Empathy comes from a Greek word meaning in and feeling. It is as if you are in the feeling of the other. I read it like that because the word empathy makes you sound like that. The word empathy makes you sound like, the word empathy makes you read like that. It just makes you so calm and puts you in a place to where somebody's just venting, talking to you because they trust you with what they're talking to you about, and you just to the flow of, man, I feel what you're saying. I actually, could somebody explain to me how that has worked for you and then explain to me when it backfired?
Can you say that one more time? The,
Can I?
prepare-
I couldn't, yeah, I couldn't hear when, I don't know if that's my Wi-Fi, but you
oh,
went in and out.
oh, can you say that one more time?
Okay,
Just repeat the question.
empathy.
Yeah,
Empathy, the time that it worked for you, the time that it backfired.
got you. Okay. So for me with empathy, how I understand empathy for a long time, I used to mistake it for sympathy, and there's a difference. Empathy is different from sympathy, and I think it's a place of empathizing that definition, is great definition because you're putting yourself in the place of the other person, in the other person's shoes, and you're feeling what they're going through, and that's the difference of empathy. You feeling what they're going through, and you're putting yourself in their shoes, and so it works well when I'm function within the definition of empathy. It backfires when I, interpret it as sympathy for me, as opposed to sympathizing with someone. The sympathy doesn't do anybody any good. It's not that's not helpful. But empathy helps, because you can help a person grow and you grow yourself, when you come from a place of empathy as opposed to sympathy. I don't want sympathy, and most people don't want it or need it, but empathy. So that's where, for me, it backfires when I get those two mixed up. And often it may happen at times. But that's what I was like to share with that on empathy. Thanks. Let me shut up.
All right. Thank you, Maurice, for sharing. Thank you very much. Who else would like to? The floor is open. Who else would like to comment on what Reginald just asked or answer the question Reginald just asked? The floor is open. Go ahead, Ms. Carol.
I just wanted to mention one thing. Sometimes when we empathize with people, we have to be very cautious on the character of the person we're empathizing with. Because although you're empathizing and they need that at that moment, they're also thinking trickery. Okay. And it's like, okay, so now I can get over on this person because they empathize with me. And sometimes they will try to get over on you or take your kindness for weakness. So you have to really understand who you're speaking to, what they're about, what they're actually, their outcome, what they're looking for an outcome, and how you can then help them get towards that outcome, going through whatever it is that they're going through, but also guarding yourself too, so that, they don't think of you as a fool because you're empathizing with them, because some people will do that as well. So, just sharing.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. Simpa said agreed. Thank you very much for sharing. So I would like to pose a question to everyone. When it comes to empathy, That's Steve said, very true. Also, when it comes to empathy, Reverend Reginald, there's two different sides of it. And I learned this through Antonio as well. There's two different sides. You have the light side of empathy, and then you have the shadow side of empathy. To add on to what Miss Carol said, yes, you can empathize with someone and they can take advantage of you, but at the same time, you have to be careful, because when you empathize with someone and you don't understand the full definition or the full awareness and consciousness of what empathy is, you can actually take on their emotion. So you have to be careful with that. So to answer your question, Reverend Reginald, when empathy doesn't work, it backfires on you when you take on that person's emotion and you take it on as your own. So if you walk into a room and someone is, excuse my verbiage, but they're so pissed off that the whole room is on fire, and you walk in there and it hits you, and then all of a sudden you're angry, you're walking around, you have to be careful, because you'll take that energy, you'll take that emotion on as your own, and you'll take it to your house. And you'll snap on people, go off on people. And 1 minute you were fine, the next minute you ready to scorch the entire planet. But at the same time, if you have the awareness of it, it works to your advantage, because when you have the awareness and consciousness of empathy, and you understand that somebody in this room is at a very high level of anger, a very high level of pain. And I believe we actually had a conversation about this before. As you're walking into that room, the closer you get to that person, you can feel who it is. And if you use your empathy correctly, you can actually reach out to that person, whether they realize it or not, and just reach out as a help, and not take on their emotion. And when you reach out as a help, you can save a life. Because if someone is extremely angry, you don't know what they're going to do. But if you can just say, hey, if you can be that sounding board, or that light in that anger, that light in that darkness, you can shine the light on them and say, hey, everything's okay. Or if you walk into a room and someone's in so much pain, you can save a life, because you don't know the level of their pain. You don't know how long they've been in that pain. And you just simply acknowledging the fact that they even exist in that room could save a life. Antonio always tells us, you never know who's one smile, one hug, one handshake, or one hello away from suicide. So I'm going to push it. You never know who's one hello, one handshake, one hi, or one smile away from, I'm about to choke everybody in this room. You never know who's that person. So if you properly use that empathy, you can save a life, or you can destroy your own. So the backfire of having empathy is destroying your own life. The sunshine part of having empathy is saving somebody else's. Who else would like to? The floor is open. Who else would like to open up and express and answer Reverend Reginald's question? The floor is open.
And I want to get, while the floor is open and people getting their thought processes together, because I probably need, with the empathy thing, I want to figure out when is a good time to tell somebody I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, I know what you feel like. I've been through what you done been through. When is a good time to, that's empathy? Or that's what you call, because when they say you can feel, you know what I'm saying? Like when is a good time? That's not a good time, isn't it? That's, hey man, I know how you feel. You gotta add the, I know how you feel. I've been there. No, because so a lot of people get mad. All right, I ain't gonna say a lot of people. You know how you been in a situation and yeah, man, because you don't know what I've been through. You don't know the life. No, you're right. You're you're absolutely right. I don't know. I don't. It sounds like we got some similarities, but you was on 34th Street. I was on 41st Street. That's the difference. So I can't, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, I guess you, can I say you got to be born with that to be like D? I'm asking you, I'm talking to you. That's something you was born with, ain't it? Like, for real. No, for real. Because you can do, like, you got the power to do. I think if I try to be like, if I try to do you, I think people would call my bluff.
Mm. What? Oh, go ahead, Miss Carol.
That's a superpower. That is a superpower.
Yeah, we know, right? We know, Gianna. We had that conversation not so long ago, actually, because there's some people that are born with that gift. It's actually a gift. And sometimes it feels like a curse because you're picking up all this energy all the time. But as you go through life and you have a journey, the different things that take you through that journey sometimes makes you that sensitive that you can also pick up on that. So you don't have to be born with it, but your life journey can almost train you to detect that immediately so that you have that knowing out of all your experiences.
That,
All right.
that
Thank
helped
you,
a
Miss
whole lot.
Carol. And it's also, you are a strong believer. So we're going to speak in that language, Reverend Reginald. God will direct you to who you need to go to because he knows who will accept you and what you have to say. He uses the universe, source, God, whoever whatever your spiritual practice is all knowing. And you have been given a gift to use for their purpose. So in that they've already, if you have accepted your assignment, they've already know who to put in your path just for you. Because they understand there are people that I can't go and talk to. I can't go talk to the person that grew up on 33rd or 45th. I can't do that. Because they're gonna look at me like, why are you even here? Like, who are you? Where did you? I can't go and say, yeah, I understand, man, these streets are hard. Look at me. Look at me. Listen to my voice. This chipmunk voice. Can I walk up to Reginald and say, yes, sir, I understand how it feels, out on these streets. I can't go up to you and talk to you like that. But I can approach somebody like Grace and Miss Carol, like, hey, Grace, you know what? I understand. When I get angry, I want to scorch the earth, but at the same time, but at the same time, it was like, I understand. I have scorched the entire universe, not just the earth. I have scorched the entire universe. So I understand where you're coming from. I understand how to get so angry where you tear up and you start crying and people think you crying because you're weak. No, I'm crying because I'm ready to rip your head off your body with the spine still attached. I can go to Grace and talk to Grace like that, but I can't come to you and tell you that. You gonna look at me like, little girl, who is you? So when it comes to that, you'll know. There have been people that have walked into our church just from your conversation because you followed what you were told. You followed the empathy within you and you spoke when you were supposed to speak. And you spoke to people who even though I get along with those who have walked in the church that you have invited, I was not where I needed to be for that. You were where you needed to be. You'll know, just like the phone calls you got today, you will know exactly who it is. So you don't have to be nervous because they'll come to you. There's going to be something that they see in you that automatically magnetizes them to you. I can no longer be an apartment manager. It's done. Why? And I used to have people tell me all the time, you're too nice for this position. And I never understood what they said, but the more and more that Antonio coached me, the more and more that I learned from him, I realized they are drawn to my empathy because these are people who are in pain and who are hurting, and they know that I empathize with them. And not only do I empathize with them from a person perspective, I empathize with them from a tenant perspective because I've rented in an apartment. I've signed a lease. I've lived with 400 other people in the same building, in the same complex. You know, I've been there. But there's something about me. I used to have people come to me. I literally had people sit in front of me who I only saw between the 1st and the 3rd of every month. Didn't see them outside of that. I didn't have to worry about seeing them for any work orders because they called them in. But for some reason, on a day that they needed to pour out of themselves, they walked into my office, sat down, and I instantly knew. And the only words that would come out of my mouth are you okay? And the sprinkler system came on, the waterworks came on, here come the waterfall, and they just start pouring out. Because they just needed someone to acknowledge the fact that they were hurting. When you are walking wherever you are walking, when you are in whatever environment you are in, the person that needs you will come to you. Or you will feel, you will look at a person and be like, you need some help. And that particular person is the person that's open to receive you as their help. So don't worry about when is the right time. You will always know when it's the right time. The question is, will you answer it when the time is right?
So when I am in that, that's me having empathy.
That is.
The reason why I asked because I'm gonna go to page 59.
Okay. Let me see. When you are tapped into God, source, the universe, however you choose to say it, or whatever your belief is, you'll always know. I wish Antonio, but he's not going to speak for like another year or so. So let me see how I can phrase this.
Well, no, I mean, I'm speaking on a more point of, because me personally, I just wanted I wouldn't say a better explanation of empathy, and and what, because just don't drive. You just, like you said, you just don't go walk up to somebody and just have empathy for them, But when you have that passion, like in the first part, because my passion is listening to people and getting them to listen to themselves. And when they listen to themselves, I see a smile, and I'll be like, that's all I needed. Like that would be my payment. Don't give me no money. Don't give me none of that stuff. I don't want no soda. I don't want no chips. I want some sugar cookies. But if they have some sugar cookies, I'll take some sugar cookies. But that's what I'm not looking for. I just want, before I said something to you, you looked like this. After, you look like that. That's it. I used to get into it with my counselor and outpatient, because my outpatient, like, you holding stuff in and you won't let go, and so you mean to tell me that what gives you energy is just when you help other people? And I'm like, that's what gives me energy. She will not let me. she was really on it. Like, she was really telling me that is got to be something else. And I'm like, nah, for real. Because when I talk in your classroom and somebody says, Reggie, that's exactly what I needed to hear, I'm like, thank you. I didn't say it. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't nobody trying to do it to take your spot, Miss Teacher, ma'am, counselor, lady. Well, nobody's trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? This is me. I think you don't like that part in me because maybe he answered a question that you asked and you couldn't get him to, whatever it was, you know. That's it. That's it. I'm gonna press mute.
No, no,
I got
you okay. Corey, Corey, you're up next after Corey, Miss Monica. Go ahead.
I think just to piggyback a little bit on what Reginald was saying, I think you have to get yourself out of your way to truly have empathy for someone else. And whenever you have some thought, like when you're listening to someone, you're thinking, oh, what am I going to say? What, am I truly listening? Am I not listening? You got all this other stuff in your head. When you say you understand what they're saying, they can feel that you don't really understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But once you really get yourself out of the way and you're just like, you know what, in my opinion, thoughts, everything else is out of the way for a second, and I'm just on you, the right words come out. Like you don't even have to think about saying what you need to say or whatever it might be. It just comes out, similar to going back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the conversation of your true inner burning desire would come out. So it's like if your burning desire is to actually listen and truly get into the other person's world, that's what the person's going to get. But if your desire is just to say, you know what, I'm just going to listen because I think this is what this person needs right now, but I really don't know what I'm going to say, I think the person would actually even understand if you say, you know what, I don't understand what you're saying fully, but I know that this is what you need right now. That would be a lot better than saying, oh, I understand what you're saying, because the person gets that. But if you say, you know what, I don't understand fully, but I'm committed to actually really being able to better understand what you're saying. And so that's what I would say about really having empathy is getting yourself out of the way, getting all your thoughts, your opinions, everything that you think that person's saying, and truly just listening to what that person's actually saying. And that's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Corey. All right. Miss Monica, you're next. And after Monica, Miss Carol.
I was just going to say pretty much the exact same thing Corey said about really being in their position. Because years ago, I used to get confused as well between empathy and sympathy. I always thought it was kind of the same thing, which in a sense they're similar, but I think sympathy is just kind of feeling bad for someone and then you just kind of move on. Being empathetic towards someone, you're really setting everything aside and trying to understand their situation. And just like Corey said, they'll know, I think it's more of a genuine act. So they'll know you're being genuine because you're sitting, it means more to someone, just you sitting there and listening. So the conversation that you had, Reggie, on the call today, that was you were being empathetic based off the result that you mentioned. So they knew that you were truly being genuine in your words and what you were saying and being empathetic towards their situation. And sometimes just that alone helps people. Sometimes you don't have to go out of your way to do a lot for someone. Sometimes just listening and truly responding to whatever their problem is or whatever it is that they're going through is enough to, I guess, quote unquote, save someone from their situation if they did have a suicidal thought or anything else. So I was just going to say something similar, but it is it can be confusing, but I think you did just that with your conversation because that was being empathetic.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms.
Right,
Monica. Thank you, Corey.
Now I'm getting some understanding. That's what I need, understanding.
All right. Well, we got one more, Reverend Reginald. We have Miss Carol.
So when someone is in pain and you're speaking to them, you can understand what they're talking about and you can communicate that. and you can be listening to them and you can be there for them, that does not make you empathetic.
Mm.
So the empathy comes in when you're sharing the feeling, you're understanding it, and you're sharing the feeling of that person. So you can be just as effective by just understanding and giving them some sort of insight into what they're thinking so they can get the answer. Almost like therapy, right? A therapist will get you to the point where you need to go, but they're not feeling what you're feeling. They're not going to take all that stuff home. Some people do because they're empathetics, but others don't have to do that, but they're just knowledgeable and experienced, and they can kind of guide you out of whatever mood you're in or help you find your direction. But when you're empathizing with someone, you're understanding them, but you're also sharing that feeling at the time. And I think that's where sometimes people get a little bit confused in the empathy part. And then if you're sympathizing with them, it's more like you're making them small. You're not showing them their power. You're feeling bad for them. And people need to be elevated. They need to be pushed so that the strength can come up and show up so that they can get through that. So that's why I don't like to sympathize with anybody. Just sharing that anyway.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing, Miss Carol. Um, y'all, please excuse me for my silence. I'm trying to think. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I saw Maurice unmuted his mic. I just wanted to let you know.
Please, thank you. Maurice, go ahead. The floor is yours.
No, I wanted to relate that to, and as I was listening to everybody, an example I wanted to think about is that, have you ever been with someone that has lost a loved one, and, you may have lost a loved one, but you still can never say that I can relate to you or I feel your pain, because it may not be the same feeling for you as it is for that individual, and this is the closest for the example of empathy for me, I think, and that's what jumps out to me as I'm listening to everyone is, and sometimes it's just being there and or just the presence, no words, not necessarily, because a lot of times there's no words to say even. There's nothing for you to even, you can even say, to relate to what that person is going through. So the empathy often can be just being present, sharing in that spirit, or sharing in that loss, or sharing in that moment that individual may be going through. Is it's nothing said, it's no words at all, it's just, and then when they leave, man, thank you, I needed that. Or it's like they, so that's what kind of hearing, and that's what I'm getting from that is in so I think that's true empathy, and sometimes it's just unspoken. You don't even have to say a word. It's just a matter of really sharing that moment with that individual, or because a lot of times it's best not to even say anything, because it just is almost like you put your foot in your mouth. Kind of, it's like, I want to say something, you want, you've been in that moment where you're trying to comfort someone in a loss, and the more you say, the worse it gets. It's just, all right, I'm just here. If I need anything you need, I'm just here, man, just whatever it is. So sometimes that's even, that speaks volumes than sharing any words, and definitely no sympathy. Miss Carol said, sympathy is that comes from a low energy, weak place. It breaks you down. So weakening. It has more of a weakening effect. I empathize with you, but I'm not going to sympathize with you. If I care for you, if I'm saying that if I have concern for you, that's what I wanted to share with you. Thanks for letting me share that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Maurice, for sharing that as well. I want to thank each and every one of you for sharing, from Corey to Miss Monica to Carol to Maurice. Thank each and every one of you. Reverend Reginald, the floor is yours to respond, comment, express what else is on your mind and your heart.
like you said, with the empathy, you just displayed again. It was like, thank everybody. I'm trying to channel my inner Deanna. Thanks everybody for commenting and leaving your thoughts as well. Uh, as I go through this experience of finding out what empathy means, I'm coming to find out that I do show empathy, and I guess I could start using the word because I was kind of I kind of erased the word from it because empathy is kind of, in my opinion, it was I just didn't even I didn't get it because I just didn't understand that you can feel somebody else's. I mean, I know you can feel it, but you saying that I can feel and understand, like, because I know I can't do that. But the way Miss Carol and Lisa and everybody else that chimed in today, y'all gave me a better understanding, and I will continue to do my part when it touches my stomach, that fire, and it burns and it gives me the joy to talk to other people, that I will definitely continue to do so. Definitely continue to do so because this is what I love to do anyway, especially when I get the phone calls that I wasn't expecting and they want to hear me because they don't know where I was at. You don't know what I was thinking. You don't know what I was going through, and to be like, I got a chance to oh man, this was up because I was supposed to go somewhere. I was supposed to put my do rag on and go outside and lace them Air Force Ones up, Grace, and go to a stroll in the park. But I got the phone call, so I put my N1 slippers on. When I put my N1 slippers on, it makes me calm. Uh, Anybody else feels like they want to talk about this, the empathy?
Um, I would like to share something. And Antonio said that he can feel everyone in the world at the same time. If you have ever had a one-on-one conversation with Antonio, if you have ever been on a call with him, you have seen him do this. But what he said after that really struck me. He said, I know my purpose. As a leader, when you know your purpose, which Reginald, you are, and you know your purpose, your empathy is magnified because you know your purpose. Like I was saying earlier, we each have a gift, and the universe uses that gift to help others bring out what's within them or to help heal others. You love talking to people and healing them. Your gift allows, because you have that desire in your heart, that gift, who you are, what your purpose is, allows you to shine bright to those who need you most. And at the same time, you can also feel that that person needs you. But you're also aware enough, open enough, and still enough to listen when the universe, God, source tells you, I need you to talk to that person. See, your gifts, empathy, it's double-sided. Your empathy allows you to feel who you need to approach, but it also allows you to be open enough to listen, to hear what you need to say to them. The other day, it was either earlier this week or it was last week, Miss Carol said, hey, I feel this person. I think she has not gotten out. She still has confusion. She hasn't gotten out everything that she needs to feel. If Miss Carol didn't know what her purpose was, if she didn't pay attention to her empathy, and if she didn't speak for that person, which is what her gift is, that person would have never gone heard. That person would have still been in
Come on.
confusion, and that person would have never gotten the answers they needed. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are a leader and you pay attention to your gifts, you'll know what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to do it. Reggie, you actually
Y'all supposed to
do
clean
it.
up.
Reggie, you actually do it on a consistent basis, and you know it, but you don't know it. And before Maurice spoke, I was battling with the very first time I actually opened myself up to get to my gift from both directions. In the process of delivering a message from something I felt, and also listening to what I was told to do. And I think I told Grace this, but I don't remember. It was the very first time I ever went to a Woman Thou Art Loose conference. And for the first time ever, see, one of the things about having empathy is being, and it's actually on page 59, and I'll read it. It means, it says, empathy requires a few character components. First, there is the ability to feel and be what is referred to as soft-hearted. If people are cut off from their emotions to begin with, then they usually have little ability to feel what someone else is feeling. To be an empathetic person means that you have to overcome character detachment. It means that, first of all, you are not detached from your own emotions. This does not mean sentimental, which in and of itself is usually false, pseudo emotion. It means that you are truly in touch with your feeling capacities. People who are out of touch with their own feelings are limited in their ability to empathize with others. Reggie, you don't have an inability to empathize with others because your deepest desire is to help others. So I read that to say the very first time I actually opened myself up to the full capacities of my emotion, I was able to, like I said, be the giver and the receiver of my gift of empathy. I was at the Woman Thou Art Loose conference. It was the opening. He said for everyone to come up. It was open prayer, blah, blah, blah. I went up. There are a lot of emotions going on in this place. A whole lot of emotions. But the first time that I just released and completely opened myself up, I released all my deficiencies emotionally. I grabbed somebody's, when we went to hold hands, we grabbed hands. She looked at me, she smiled, we grabbed hands, and I instantly heard, tell her this. And I'm standing here, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe that's just a voice in my head. And it said it again, tell her she is enough. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, and I heard everything was silent until I grabbed this woman's hand. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay. And so I told myself, pay attention and actually be obedient. Be obedient and do what was said. And this is what I mean when you use your empathy in the light side, you actually save a life. I don't know what that woman was going through. After the prayer was over, we're walking off. She was ahead of me, so I tapped her, and she said hi. She waved. You know the church hi, and you keep on moving. She did that, and I was like, okay, man up and go do what you were told to do. I tapped her on the shoulder again, and she turned around. I did this. So she reached in for a hug, and I told her, I said, you are enough. And she just started crying. I don't know what that woman was going through. I don't know what that woman was going through. But whatever it was, she needed to hear that. She needed to hear those words arranged in that way in order for her to get the message that she needed to get. Something in her was telling her that whatever it was, whatever she was going through, but she needed to hear that she was enough. She was there for a reason. Reginald, empathy is exactly what you do. You tell people what they need to hear when they need to hear it. You break down the walls that have them up. You save lives on a consistent basis. Your empathy you may not feel what somebody else is actually in, but you know enough and you're open enough and aware enough to know that when you are in somebody's presence, look, it's time I tell you, and that person is receptive to what you have to say, because that is what you specifically were supposed to tell them.
Yeah, because it's in their face. they hold the whole little thing around them. Says aurora. Yeah, I know I'm good with pronunciation. I said it right. Don't
Yeah,
correct me, Grace. The
I understand what you
aurora that's around them. Grace always trying to correct me. Don't you correct me. The aurora that's around you, I can see it. Like, yeah, because it's, you know what? I was going to tell you tomorrow, but I ain't got no choice. You need to quit going over there. You know what I'm saying? And then they just put their head down. But yeah, I'm going to tell you what it is. Okay? Y'all want to know what it is. When I do show it, I just want your voice, sis. That's all I want to match. But I guess it don't match my body, right? I can't just be like, you know, I just want you to know that this is not in me. Because my voice, hey, that's my voice. Hey, come here. No, hey, you know better than that. Yeah, so yeah, I
But I
just want
think
the
it's
piano.
better that way for you, Reggie, because people would never expect that from you. If they don't know you, they would never
Yeah,
expect for you to be someone who's truly genuine and out to help someone. So I feel, and this might be biased, but it would come more like, it would mean a lot more coming from someone like you because it's not expected.
yeah,
And human beings judge, unfortunately, like you do when you see someone. So they're like, "Ooh, that's a big guy," and braids and
yeah,
all that. So it's
yeah,
intimidating. So
yeah,
coming from you, it means 10 times more. So I think it's actually an advantage for you. But I think you just need to kind of overcome the fear of approaching someone feeling like it's like they're going to be afraid of you, because I don't think that's it. Because once you do start talking and they realize what's going on, it'll put a lot of people at ease, especially men, because there's not a lot of men out there
yeah.
that I've come across that will let themselves be vulnerable with someone else to help them, because a lot of times pride gets in the way. So I think it's an advantage for you, and I think you should definitely use it towards your advantage.
Thank
I
you. Thank
definitely
you
will.
so much, Miss Monica. Thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Cause like I was saying earlier, Reggie, I can't okay, me and you ain't never met. I walk up to you, sir, I understand how you feel. How you gonna take that from me?
You can't ask me that, D. You can't ask me that. You want to know why you can't? No, you can't. You got to remember, I grew up in a household with females. So guess who I'm going to respect more? You.
Gotcha.
You will be the only one that'll get me to, like, when I was in high school, it was this substitute teacher. And she was one of my coach's mother. And she substituted our class. And, they was in there acting up. I was on my best behavior, Grace. I was not the class clown that I get every year. They don't give me best dress. They always give me class clown. I deserve best dress some year. Anyway, I'm just venting, y'all. Don't worry about me. Yes, I went all the way back to high school. They should have gave me best dress because I was, anyway, class clown. I won't even try to make them people laugh. They just silly anyway. I don't even make them laugh. But the lady, they was getting on the nerves, and I stood and said, hey, man, y'all wouldn't act like that if your mama was up here. That lady told me to stay up. And she said, I don't need your help. I don't need your help. I can handle this on. What you need to do is stop selling weed in school. Wait a minute, Jesus. Who are you? Where did you, when she said that, do you understand me? That lady is the only lady, if she was in the game, if we had a basketball game and she was in the crowd and I was getting to have one of my Reggie moments and she would have stood up and said, Reggie, I would have stopped what I was doing. She had that much power. You understand? And that's what I'm talking about. Like, but if it was anybody else, man, you fisted. anyway, anyway.
But passport to manhood is the perfect example of what Monica was just saying, though.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I stuck with it for years. I actually taught that at the Boys and Girls Club for years, and all those Boys and Girls Clubs I worked at. And I was looking at a picture the other day. It was me, and I had, man, I had like 55 boys in that class. 55. And when I spoke, do you know that none of them boys side talked? So just imagine you're in a classroom. Just imagine you're in a classroom and you only got not a piece of that. You got side talk, you got laugh, you got joke, and they was because I just told, they know what it was. I knew what it was. I'm gonna tell you just like it's supposed to be. I'm not this, I'm not that, and this is what you need to know, and this is exactly what's gonna happen to you. Because it was stuff happening, there was events happening during that time while they was there. So grabbing their attention. So yeah, Monica, you are that you was very accurate. Very accurate. Miss Carol, by the way, you have that same power. I know it's just been a couple of Thursdays, but I'm just letting you know that you got the same power. So if I be around Grace, and because Grace say I be acting up, I don't be acting up. I be on my best behavior. I be on my best behavior. So when you say word, that's it. I'm at ease. I'm letting you know. You have that. I'm just giving you that right now today.
Well, you know something, Reggie? When we first met eye to eye, right? There was a click. There was some kind of communication that went on, whether it's past life, whatever it is, I don't know what it is. But you're the type of person that when you say something, you say it with such power that it feels like it's coming from a soulful place, from your heart. So people will listen. But not only that, because of your size and the honesty that's coming from you, there's a trust factor that goes there. So they feel safe with you. So they can talk to you. So never stop doing what you're doing, because that's a blessing. Okay? And you're blessing somebody else and you're going to get it back. Know that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Minister Mitchell. Remember you was talking about Antonio. He said he feels everybody. You know what I wanted to say, but you was talking. You was in the rhythm. That's Professor X. When he go into the cerebrum, that's Antonio. That was his former life. He was the Professor X on the X-Men. We was the students. We are the students. Yeah. Professor X. He can't talk. He can't talk. He's
no,
just
he
listening.
can't. Yeah, he's just listening.
Yeah.
Reggie, I'm so happy you said that. I'm so happy you said that because
we are mutants.
In all honesty, I'm so happy you said that because it makes me feel normal now.
Yeah, I'm Wolverine though. I just gonna do my own little stuff. I respect them, but yeah, I got to go cut somebody's face off.
Help us. For those of you who have empathy, I need you to think about Cerebral from X-Men and Professor X. When you walk in a room, it's like walking into Cerebral. And when you're in there and there's one person who stands out, it's like your empathy just like zooms in on that person. And then it's like, and then and this is when you have the awareness and the consciousness, that's when you know that person needs my help. Cerebral from X-Men is just like empathy. Only instead of you putting on the helmet and using your brain, it's like every emotion in you from your heart, and it's like you feel. I can literally drive down my street. I can pass my street and I can feel the energy of my house before I even get on my street. And you can ask Grace, it's been sometimes I've just sat in my car and I'm like, yeah, I can't do that energy right now. Because I can feel what's inside the house. And that is empathy. That just the knowing that something is not right, that feeling that, hey, this person needs a hug. And not just one of those, hey girl, hey hugs, but one of those, here, come here. I need to hug you. I need to hug you to help melt away whatever it is you have on you right now. One of those kind of hugs. One of those hugs that when they go to let go, you keep holding on to them, because you know that the moment that they are forcing you to let go, you know to keep holding on, because you know that force is them, you hit the wall. And because you hit that wall, they're not ready to let it go. But if you keep holding on, they'll drop that wall and let go of everything. That kind of hug. Empathy lets you know all of that.
No,
And
I don't think you know how strong you are. That's why people try to let go. Because you hugged me one time. I thought the tattoo off my back was supposed to come off. The whole state of Texas was supposed to come off my back. I thank you, but God, y'all.
Grace has gotten those hugs before. And Antonio knows. Antonio be like, she need one of your hugs. Because I can't do it. But it's just a knowing. It's crazy. But you do it, and you do it to the people that need your approach. Like Monica was saying. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry.
I hugged Antonio one time. You know he's not no hugger. You know Antonio's not a, he can't say nothing, so he's gonna let me talk anyway. I hugged him, and you should have seen his face. But he needs that hug though. He admitted it kind of sort of in his own Antonio way. But I had to, like, yeah, I'm the only one that can do it. And I did it. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Antonio said it was not a receptive.
Come here, brother. Yeah. Come here, brother. Come get some of this.
Everybody, one time or another, needs the human touch. They just need that. And especially when you're giving it from the heart, because it's felt. So Antonio needs it too.
And that's
I'm the one. He knows. Bring it in, buddy. Don't worry about me beating you. Don't worry about those L's in 2K. Give me a hug.
On a cool, reading this book, going through this leadership class several times and teaching it this time, and just with everything Antonio has ever taught me, on top of everything else, I'm now learning the importance of empathy as a leader. Because if you lead without empathy, you will lose everything. Because nothing is ever about you as a leader. Nothing. If you are a true and genuine leader of people, it's never about you. Never about you. Antonio tells us all the time, he has a lot of learned behaviors that he tells us all the time. I am not I don't have empathy. But if you listen to him talk, because he is a true leader of people, he actually has empathy. He I forgot what he called it. It's not emotional discipline, but it's a form of empathy. But he's strategic. He's very strategic. But if you are a true leader of people, emotional intelligence, that's what it is. Emotional intelligence. He tells people all the time he does not have empathy, but he has emotional intelligence. And because of his emotional intelligence, it makes him empathetic to the people he leads. because he is a leader of people. And the more you read integrity, the more you'll find out exactly what it is. It's more than just, integrity is more than just character. It's the whole of who you are. If your whole is not straight, your integrity is not straight, your character is not straight, your leadership is completely jacked. Completely. Maurice, I saw you unmute. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah. I wanted to say something to that. You know, I was of the understanding, and it's been said that in honesty is telling the truth, and integrity is living the truth. And to the empathy part, you know, the practice of it sometimes, and when you're functioning in true empathy, really, you know, it equals love and true love at the core. And sometimes love don't come across pretty. It's not coming across. It sometimes may come across as a bit harsh. And I don't know if that's the right word, but you know, it's not that it's a lack of empathy, but the circumstances and your conditions, and you begin to know, and you be able to discern when, like Miss Carol talked about, that person that may be taking advantage of or may try to take advantage of your empathy. So I get, you know, it may not come out in a way, or it may appear other than empathy. And then also there's those that are narcissists that are very good at it and play on your empathy and try to flip it back on you because they know that you're that empath. You're that empath, and they're good at what they do. So it almost is like their way of flipping it back on you for the next time around, you know, so that they can play on that empathy. So sometimes it may come out that way, but true love is, sometimes it ain't pretty. Sometimes it's telling a person what they need to hear and not what they want to hear. And it's not all mushy, you know, all the time. But that's what I wanted to share. That's all. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing, Maurice. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right, Reverend Reginald Paul.
Can I just say one more thing?
Please.
You know, sometimes people are that are empathetic, not pathetic, but empathetic. But and they have all of this feeling and stuff, and things happen to them in their life, and they turn that part off. And it's not that it's not there, it just looks differently, because that's how they're able to survive. So some people have empathy. They might call it emotional intelligence or something else, but it's there.
That's when you have to be careful, because when you shut it off, it gets real dangerous. And Tempest said, agreed again. it's, thank you, Miss Carol. Thank you very much, as always. Thank you. Reverend Reginald?
If nobody else have anything to say, we could let your empathetic voice take us out. Soothe us into the
Well, the floor is open. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to share on empathy or the burning desires of their heart and willpower? The floor is open. All right.
I think I have one thing that came to mind when you mentioned integrity and also
Go
having
ahead.
purpose. I think when you have integrity, and integrity to me also, in addition to having good character and anything, is also the state of being whole and complete and perfect. And what that really means to me is that you mentioned earlier that Antonio says that he knows his purpose. So it's like once you know your purpose and you're full in an integrity, it's almost like you're a well-oiled machine. So what that means is that whenever you do listen to someone and you do have a level of empathy, since you're whole and complete, you're not, when you're listening to someone, you're not necessarily looking for anything in that conversation because you have everything. So by being able to, always being in that state of looking at where am I out of integrity, what can I put in? It really allows you to always be in that space of empathy if you have it. And whenever you feel like you can't generate that empathy, it could probably be for yourself that there's a lack of integrity in yourself and your purpose. So it may actually be an opportunity for you to look and say, okay, well, where am I not living in my purpose? Where am I not really being whole and knowing who I am and being aware of who I am? Mm-hmm. So that's what I really want to share on that.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you very much. And Tempest put in chat, if you are whole and complete, exclamation with 3 hearts.
Right.
So thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Is there anything else anybody would like to say before we close out for the evening? All right. Well, if not, thank you. Thank you, Vastine. Thank you. Vastine said great thoughts tonight. Thank you very much. If there isn't anything anyone else would like to say, Reverend Reginald and I, as always, would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us this evening. Thank you, Ms. Carol, as always. Thank you, Maurice. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Monica. And thank you, Vastine. Each and every one of you have an amazing evening. And we look forward to seeing you next Thursday for chapters 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Thank each and every one of you for joining us this evening. See y'all next Thursday. Goodbye.